Whoa. You have not seen what I have seen. It's done. It's done. Welcome back to the watch. Rings of Power, Season 2, Episode 3. And I survived. I'm at the other end of it. Until next week. But if you've joined me for the other deep dive live stream reviews of the Rings of Power, welcome back. And if this is your first time, my condolences. I apologize. Get used to the stupidity. But don't worry, you're among friends here. Wow. So episode 3. It was a slog, just like all episodes. It was rough to get through, not enjoyable. There's some action in this. We'll get to have a look at it when we're going through the specifics. Interestingly enough, Galadriel doesn't appear at all this entire episode, which might have been why I was able to survive it. But just really not enjoyable. Now, broad views of the thing, right? You're following a lot of characters that you don't care about. You're not invested in really what's going on because it has all the issues of the previous 2 episodes that is trying to hold this up. And it's like the series remembered, oh yeah, there were other characters that you didn't care about in season 1 that we need to kind of show, so we better bring them back in. You remember Isildur, right? And you remember the Numenoreans, right? Riveting stuff. We got to address those. And you remember Discount Legolas? Got to bring back. So just such incredibly engaging characters that we got to see this episode. In case you didn't tell, I was being sarcastic. Yeah, Theo's back, right? And so Theo was such an idiot in season 1. Like, there's all that. Like I said, we don't have to suffer through Galadriel here. Celebrimbor's there, so Brimbor is there, and of course Sauron. They're trying to make the rings. They're doing with the they're trying to get the dwarves on board. Some really baffling things happen. Really, there's a couple of big ones, and I'll share the specifics. And one of the most insulting things, I think, to the Lord of the Rings, lore and just this fandom, right, happens in this episode. And it's a tough thing because episode 2 probably still wins out of just betraying the lore and desecrating what I was by turning the the Rings of Power into basically mini One Rings that it can do the same thing. They're just as evil. It's insane. Okay, but as you saw maybe from the title and thumbnail, orcs, they're just misunderstood. like wow, orcs are supposed to be like corrupt perversions of life made to serve evil masters. Okay, this isn't about these are individuals that we need to kind of understand. No, these are half-life monsters. That's the purpose of them, and they are a plague upon all good things in the world. that has been kind of cursed by Morgoth and all the evil that's been, perpetrated all throughout Middle Earth. And the creators of Rings of Power, that seems to be problematic. That's an issue, right? Because it's like so problematic to condemn an entire race to be evil. Now, I'm assuming the logic here. I don't know why they chose to do this, but I get the impression that it's part of this bonkers narrative. We see it coming out of the Dungeons and Dragons changes that they're making, like they removed even the term race from Dungeons and Dragons, and there's no evil races because that's problematic. And they're projecting something really like horrible. And the origin of this is a truly racist perspective that people have thought that orcs represent black people in their setting. And for anyone with a logical, normal mind, right, have never associated orcs and black people or anybody in the race. They're a fantasy race completely divorced from this world, and they represent corruption and evil. And so it's a face-off moment for these groups of people. They're the ones drawing this connection. Hang on. What do you think of black people if you're thinking that they have any similarity to fantasy orcs? That is nuts. But because people have claimed this, right? That, orcs they represent races in the real world, right? It's created a thing that pops up more and more recently, really, that, well, any bad representation of orcs is representing other real life races poorly, so we can't have the orcs be evil. That's saying something about the real world, and it's not, but that's what they unironically think this is. It's bonkers. And it really feels like, because it's these ideas that have caused the people making Rings of Power to like, it's problematic if we just make the orcs inherently evil. No. They need to have been forced to do the bad things. In fact, they don't even want to do the bad things. They don't want to go to war. That's actually in this episode. One of the orcs says, oh, but Sauron will make us go to war again, and we don't want to go to war. I'm like, these are orcs. They bloody love war. War is a buffet for them, a smorgasbord. It's like all you can eat is war for orcs because they eat people. They're monsters. They friggin' love war. They get to all do all the pillaging and all the cannibalizing they want, and they love murdering and killing. That's what gives them joy, because they're evil races, right? Orcs would they pillage and murder and slaughter and steal everything just as their normal, that's the course of their everyday, right? That's what they do because they are inherently corrupted creatures. And then when you give the opportunity to do it in larger numbers with more resource stuff like that in a war, oh boy, that's the context. They're always on board with that. Mage's Guild for $5 says, I am cursed as I had to watch all 3 episodes in a row yesterday. My condolences, and review them with the stroke of the pen today. Yeah. It's like, we're brothers in arms. I understand what you have gone through. We have seen the torture together. I understand. Yeah. Orcs are mostly peaceful. Dodges 7 heads launched from catapults, right? So this is truly bonkers. Because unironically in the show, we'll get to see it. I'm going to show you guys when we get to it chronologically, but this is just a broad kind of recap, right? Unironically, they have the orc complainers like, we don't want to go to war, and I just want to take care of my family. What? Oh, wow. Are the creators of this show that pathetic that they're like, we can't have evil orcs? That is so weak. What an absolute abomination of this franchise. Yeah, Orc Love arc incoming. Oh, destroyed all the interesting chances to respect Tolkien, and Mage's Guild for $5 again. My liver is still recovering. At least Sauron flopped down a mountain and being run over by a cart in episode 1 was hilarious. It was funny. Episode 2 and 3 are just pure awful. Yeah, it is. I'm drinking something. It's not alcoholic, but it's a bit harder. You know, it's a bit more stiff. This is a Bundaberg. It's called creamy soda. It's effectively Portello. It's good stuff. I'm cracking out the good stuff to get me through it. So this is unbelievable that they would desecrate this franchise and the source material, and I can't believe that they think that they're respecting Tolkien. And when I was saying it's like weak, it feels like, when I say weak, it's because I think it feels like they're afraid of offending anyone. I like, who would it actually take offense? Well, the people that are like trying to draw the connection, the actual people who are racist enough to believe there's a connection between orcs and anyone in the real world. They're afraid of offending those crybabies. And so they're absolutely, like, again, this is assumptions. I get the impression they can say I'm wrong and then prove me wrong. Okay, I'll take the evidence, if you can present it. But my impression at the moment is that this very much feels like it's pandering to that mentality. It's problematic to have the orcs be depicted as inherently evil. So we've got to just make them misunderstood. It's the evil overlords that were forcing them to do all that murdering. They don't want to do the murdering. They didn't even want to go to war, right? Ridiculous. And then a lot of the other episode is pretty darn boring. Like we follow Isildur, and a horse saves him. What else really kind of stands out in this episode? Not much. So we might just dive into the bit by bit. One thing does stand out quite a lot because it was hilarious and dumb, and I was like, they're not even paying. Again, one of the consistent things with season 2 is they forget about stuff from season 1, not only actively contradicting at times, other times purposely trying to gaslight you that things did not play out the way it so blatantly did. Galadriel was deceived when by Sauron, who told her he was the king, when no, she told him he was the king, right? Saw that multiple times. Well, get ready, there's another one. Mage's Guild for $5. I've had Bundaberg before. Good stuff. I had a wine and gin, 4 bottles of wine to be precise. Pure vandalism of my culture. Yeah. This is an insult. Professor Tolkien would just vomit at the sight of this dog crap. What an insult to him, an insult to Lord of the Rings. Oh, thank you. I appreciate your love. Okay, here's the thing is, humans are superior to animals because they're reasoning, not because of emotions. Yep. All right. We're going to dive into The Rings of Power, episode 3. Now, of course, it gives the standard recap. Just try and remember the stuff that's relevant to this episode because season 1 was so forgettable. We have to remind you. And The Rings of Power. And it opens up with almost, this is actually technically a bit of a flashback. And I wonder if it's actually scenes from season 1, because this is before is Isildur. I get Isildur and Elendil mixed up in this. Is Isildur the son? Or is he the dad? But I think this is Isildur. He's actually already back in Numenor. At the end of season 1, you saw him arrive. And so this must be a flashback. And it's a flashback to remember that you remember the horse ran off. And it was so obvious. Like, they were trying to fake you out to convince you that the son had died because the thing collapsed on him. And you know, like, if you know the lore, any of the history, you know he's not dead. All right. So this isn't like a shocking reveal that somehow he survived. But again, it's one of those Deus Ex Machina things, because a burning building did collapse on him. Looked like he died, right? But you know they don't have the guts to do that. And you know that in the lore he survives. And so this isn't a fake. And then especially with the horse, remember, has a special bond with its rider. And they'll never like separate from the rider. And the horse was dying to get free, right? Jumping around, and they say he's dead, but the horse knows that he's alive. And none of the Numenoreans make the connection that, hey, maybe he's alive because the horse still has the connection. I thought that like it's a significant cultural thing with them and their horses, but no one picks up on that. Yeah, Sauron is just the misunderstood brooding hero. That's what they want to turn this into. Utterly pathetic. So they don't draw the connection because when they need something to happen in the plot, they happily make all the characters act like dribbling idiots, completely contradicting things that they've done in the past or just common sense, right? To let it play out what they want in the story, because the writers are not talented enough to achieve what they want in the story in a convincing or logical or satisfying way. They know where they need to go in the story, and they think this will be cool if we have a reveal that Eregion, whatever's face, is alive. How we get the horse will go after him, but they won't that indicate it to everyone that is still alive. No, they're just going to not realize that. No, so Jacob Reed $5. I just realized that in the song Down Under, the line saying he gave me a Vegemite sandwich means that disgusting stuff you eat. I mean, they literally say it's Vegemite, and it's not disgusting. It's powerful. It needs to be respected to be enjoyed. Vegemite all the way, baby. Yeah, so they just lose the plot, forget about that, and the horse runs off going up. And no one figures out, like, oh, maybe he's alive. But that was almost a flashback, okay? Because then it wants to go through and show you, oh, you remember Mordor? Because Mordor's gone bad, and it's going to zoom in on... Well, first it zooms in on that elven tower that broke. This is a really up-to-date map because it even shows that the tower is broken on this map. Even though that happened recently, but you know, someone's on the ball in making these maps in Middle Earth. Oh, gee, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't think I am, but I'm flattered you think so. Okay, so yeah, remember the tower thing? It's broken. Look, there's Mount Doom. And this is actually going to give us a slight kind of point of reference. Why is this important? It's important to something that an orc says. Shad, no, Vegemite is a crime against humanity. No, it's not! Just misunderstood like the orcs. So, we're assuming that the horse has gone to the village where the battle happened. It looks kind of like that. The burned down buildings. And so this does give us a bit of a point of reference. This is where the horse is, near the village. Okay? Why is this important? For something that is really hilarious and really dumb. So orcs come out and they try and capture the horse because, you know, the horse is tasty. The horse, holy crap, check out what the horse does, right? Boom! Kicks the orc and he gets impaled on a tree. This horse is tough as. Wow. It just mowed down the orcs better than Sauron was able to do it. Remember Sauron? How he got defeated by a bunch of crappy orcs? But the horse, man, tougher than Sauron. Let's watch this again because this is funny. And are they going for a cool moment, not realizing that maybe this might be a little silly, seeing as though we at one side we're trying to make the orcs look really tough and intimidating, and on the other side we're gonna have a horse just totally murk an orc. Look at this. Let's watch it. Boom, dead. And, like that horse just launched him into the air. And physically that's not how it works. We know that because impact on the chest, you're straight down, not whoa, like straight off into the distance. All right. Mage's Guild for $5. Did you notice the worthless Mordor title card with Eregion in it? It remind you of Unknown Planet? This is just more of the Acolyte pute rubbish. Yeah, it's like, I wonder how many volcanoes there are in Middle Earth. So if we see a volcano, do we need to be told it's Mordor? It's kind of obvious. The horse murks an orc. Boom. And then the horse runs off. No, it's getting away. So they're all worried about it's getting away. And this is hilarious. This is hilarious. Because the orc comes up and is like, No, let him go, it says. Excuse me. This is one of the problems when, drinking, but I'm going to give you a close-up of the orcs just briefly. I needed to just burp. Sorry, my apologies. Let him get away. Why are they letting him get away? Okay. There's the Black Forest. There's the Black Forest. Nothing comes out of there alive. And I'm like, wait a minute. You guys have only moved into this place for like a month or two. How are you so familiar that there's now a cursed forest in direct proximity to the village where they had the battle? And when they had the battle at the village, there was no evil, Black Forest nearby where everyone's dying if they go near it. Have they forgotten what happened? Yes, clearly. And then they're just making it up now. Now the orcs, they have their own law and everything on this location that they've just recently moved into. So much so that there's an entire forest that's cursed that no one ever comes out of there alive, so you just don't go in. They know about the dangers of this area better than the Southlands people who lived there just before. It's ridiculous. Who is writing it? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So that is genuinely funny. That is actually funny. Orcs law? My gosh. So the horse runs off into the forest. They don't follow, and it finds its way. I guess the horse has as good a nose as like a bloodhound, because it sniffs out Numenor stuff. And look, it kicks up and it finds like a Numenorean like bit of armor. And the horse just knows. It looks at this is a dark, evil hole. And the horse just knows that that's where my master is, because it can sniff it. It has like a magical sense. It's like bonded to its rider, like a water and Aes Sedai is from the Wheel of Time. Look, if you're not familiar with Wheel of Time, you won't know the reference. But I'm talking about the classic Wheel of Time books, not the Abomination live action series, which is awful as well. As bad as it is, probably wouldn't say it's actually worse than Rings of Power. Rings of Power is worse than the live action Wheel of Time. Carmen Ryder for $10. How is there even still a forest next to the burned down village that was caught in the eruption of a volcano? Forest must be a plot convenient main character. I know, right? I know. Well said. Yeah, all the forest would be burnt down completely, and not much time has passed. Remember, since the events that transpired. Okay, what a couple of months at most we're talking about. So the brave horse, walks inside the dark, evil cave, finds its rider, and he's alive. Like he was captured by some evil spiders. He was captured by some evil spiders. And I don't know, like, remember how I said how much time must have passed? A couple of months at most, right? How the heck is he still alive if he's been tied up like this the whole time? Take a good close look at this. Excuse me. Yes. So either it has to have been only a couple of days, and maybe it has only been a couple of days, okay? Because if this is directly after the horse just legged it, and it's before the Numenoreans returned home, because that much, all right? So it mustn't have been several months then, only a couple of days. Enough days for the orcs to be so familiar with the area that they know of the evil forest that no one comes back alive from, even though the orcs didn't really inhabit this area too much apart from the trenches that they were digging. But again, this area is right near the forest where the battle had, and even the villagers didn't know about this. So stupid. But clearly, it has to have been only a couple of days. Otherwise, he should be dead. And is alive, the horse doesn't really like he's stuck in the web and he can feel the evil ooze from the spiders. But lucky for him, there's an orc right next to him. That's the spiders, coming awake. This is also odd. It's like it seems like there are no large spiders that are outside of their cocoons. Okay, which spiders are the ones that captured him and then wagged him up? Where are they? Are they still out hunting? No one's home? Lucky for the horse then. Night's Watch from Mage Guild. This shows all the hallmarks being written by retards for even a more retarded audience. I don't think the people who wrote it are very smart. Or maybe they're not talented. Maybe they could be smart and they're just not talented at writing and they're overestimating their abilities. Because there are smart people that can try something that they're not good at, and they can overestimate their abilities, and then they end up making abject slop. Wonder if that falls into this. Because this is slop. That part we can confirm. So the spiders are coming out of their cocoons, right? And lucky for, I think this is Elendil, but like I said, I get him mixed up with his dad. Lucky for him, there's an orc right nearby with a knife. And the knife is reachable. And so he reaches forward and grabs it, pulls it out, and now he can cut himself free. Lucky hit for him. If there was not an orc so close, he would have been stuffed. Again, how many times have we seen this in episode 1 and 2 where the writers need something to happen in the plot? They can't think of the characters doing something to sort it out for them or something to happen logically, so they just Deus Ex Machina. Here's the solution. You're dying of thirst in a desert. Okay, you'll just magic a well to be right there for you. Good to go. You can't find your magic staff. Here you go. Right, we'll teleport it there in front of you. We don't want you to drop the rings in the boat. Water explosion out of nowhere. Deus Ex Machina. And again, it's a consistent thing in the standard of writing in this show, which is a massive sign that an amateur has written this. Okay. And so he cuts himself free. The orc comes alive. The orc is trying to eat him or kill him. And a spider jumps on the orc and just murks him so quickly. Look, on him and dead. And in actual fact, the spider makes the head explode. Why is that relevant to point out? Well, because in just a sec, you're going to see a spider jump on Elendil. The spider tried to catch him, right? Kill him after killing the orc. And Elendil scratches him with the knife and it runs off. But then it gets the drop on him, jumps on his back, and it's on his back for longer than it was on the head of the orc, but doesn't kill him because it's got plot armor. Look at this. The spider's just hanging out there, getting on board. And this, it's even a bit longer than what we showed. So if we go there consistently, all right, it jumps on and right on his head. Already more time has passed, and it's now like kind of clawing at his head. So he should be dead. But of course, plot armor is fine. He just throws it off. This time the spider doesn't want to kill him. So great consistency there. And the spider comes back at it. It's still alive. He still isn't dead yet. Is it the horse comes in and saves him now or something? He's struggling against it. I'm trying to remember what gets it off of him. I just watched this and I've already forgotten so much because this is a boring show. Forgive me if I'm not also feeling like if I sound a bit lifeless, just because my life has been drained getting through these episodes. Like I said, it has been rough. No, he rips off the things, kicks it, and then it runs off. Okay, so he didn't even really kill it. And then he just runs to his horse and is out of there. And the spider doesn't like the sun, so it's like, I'm going back. And that's how he survived. Peter Selick says, all the fights just concentrate on the pain and suffering. No cool moves, just close look watching and the struggle. Yeah, there is. They try and do some cool moves, but they kind of go too far with it. They want this guy to look so awesome that he comes off like a complete Mary Sue. So awesome, great at everything kind of thing. We'll get there. But he's alive and then back to his father. And they're mourning over the king's death. his daughter is annoyed that he's not mourning his son, which is her brother's supposed death, and she's a bit ticked off at him. That's basically what's established in this scene, with more like drawn out, boring dialogue that's poorly written and uninteresting. And then the queen comes, and remember, she's blind, and that just kind of makes things drag even more, because everything she does is taking way, way longer because she can barely move around. Daughter's ticked off, and they're trying to set up, oh, there's going to be a problem with the succession. Numenor are a bunch of idiots. They're like, remember season 1? They were all pig-headed, and they depicted them as being really they tried to show them as being racist. They all have an issue with elves. That actually might be somewhat in the lore. I think they did have an issue with elves. But even like Halbrand, they were jerks to him as well. And so they're all a bunch of idiots. And so remember about investment, you want to like, or you need to care about the characters, the nation that you're trying to be invested in. Do not give a crap. Let it sink into the ocean, which is its ultimate fate. But do it earlier than later, so we don't have to put up with all this crap. That's right. Took their jobs, people. All allegorical straw man. Yeah. The sea is always right. So dumb. So dumb. So they want you to be invested in what's going on here. And this is interesting. So this lady is like, my son died in the war, and this is all we get. Okay. Now, first of all, I'm not saying it's not a heartbreaking thing to have your son die in war. Of course it is, right? But she should also be prepared that that is a likely possibility. They're going to war, because her reaction is she blames the queen entirely. And look at this. She comes up and just slaps the queen in the face. And I was like, holy crap. Like, what? Is that treason in this society? Like, arrest her? Like, everyone just kind of stands around shocked. Looks like the soldiers are about to do something, but then the queen is like, wait. And I think this was well acted, actually. She shows some good emotion here. And who is it you lost? And then they embrace and hug and shed a tear. And so she's showing a lot of compassion, yet at the same time, to be perceived as a weak ruler, yeah, just let yourself get slapped in public by anyone who has a grudge against you. That'll really, do the job to secure your authority. Exactly. No way royalty would just accept that. It did not look good for the authority she wants to impose. Good audience insert. Is that what you wanted to do? It felt good. Oh my gosh. So there's going to be issues, and then it cuts to another scene, and she's on her bed, right? And she's so that's the tower. She's looking for like a brooch thing. And like, I was wondering what it was, but it turns out it's a key that opens up the passageway to the secret room where the Palantir is. And she's trying to figure out if it's still there or what happened to it now that her father is passed away. And she's trying to hide it from him, and it looks so conspicuous. She's hiding it behind her back, literally holding behind her back. And the guy, they want to make the guy seem like he's clever by saying, why are you trying to hide something behind your back? Look how perceptive I am, when any half-blind person would be able to tell that she's trying to hide something behind her back. Then they have this conversation about what color should you wear at the coronation, red or white. Red represents the future, white represents the past. She chooses white because it's respectful to her father. And it's boring. Like this whole conversation about what color you're going to wear, what dress you're going to wear, right? Is that really like the riveting dialogue you're wanting in an engaging fantasy show? Sometimes having a scene like this, if it's well done and conveying good characterization, can be immersive. Wheel of Time does this stuff all the time in the books. But you need to be talented to pull that off. This is written by people who do not have that talent. And so as a result, when it doesn't increase immersion, it just drags it out and makes it slow. And especially with unlikable characters like this, it becomes a pointless scene, completely irrelevant, does nothing really for the overall plot, what's happening. And you're just like, hurry up, get on with it. So they have that conversation, the color, and then that's it. That's the scene. Amazing stuff. And as Game Jinx pointed out, none of the dialogue adds up to anything more than a sword opening a sluice gate. I think you're referring to season 1. Yeah, the sword opening. Like that build up was so bad in season 1. Yeah, I wonder why she can't wear both colors, right? But our tradition. So now we have another scene. The purpose of this scene is to convey the machinations with the guy that, you know, he wants to be the king, not him. We're gonna, yeah, that guy. Ferazon, I believe it is. He's clearly the bad, corrupt guy that's going to lead Numenor to ruin. It's all the man's fault, remember? So, but look, that's in canon as well. About, I think it's Ferazon leading everything to ruin. And oddly enough, the daughter is there, and she basically hints that she knows a way that's going to make the queen unpopular. Because she, if you remember season 1, she found the Palantir. But a soldier comes over and is like, I respect the king. I couldn't go to the coronation. Then there's a pointless confrontation between is it Ferazon? I think that's his name. His son and his soldier. And I'm wondering, why do they want this? Are they spending a lot of time on this guy right here because it's going to be more significant later on? Because at the moment, these are, again, boring, uninteresting characters in a bland scene that it's slowing everything down. And so there's a confrontation. Is like, don't mess with me, bro, essentially. Sits down, and then they're like, what did you mean to the daughter? Do you have any? So that whole confrontation seems like a pointless thing. It was just to show that, yeah, some people like the queen, some soldiers that went with her, some people don't. Okay. But remember, she's got a plan that's going to ruin the queen. Are you intrigued? Riveting. Like, compare the political intrigue that's on display here versus House of the Dragon, where everything they said had significance and really big relevance to what could happen in the story and in the plot going forward. So you're hanging off every moment. And then there's the dynamic in the relationship between characters, possible slights in the comments that they're saying, possible upmanship. It's like, my plan is better than your plan. Who am I going to favor? And so the council scenes in House of the Dragon, season 1 and 2, some of the best scenes in that series, and it's all political and it's all dialogue, right? You can make this stuff really engaging. We do not get that here. This is just boring sludge. But she has a plan, remember? And so this is where we find out what the bracelet thing did. She takes off the bracelet, turns it into a special key. I can't even remember how it was. It Muriel? Is that the daughter? How she ended up finding her way into that room. They completely messed up Numenor. Yes, it really feels like they did. I'm not a lore master, okay? I only know snippets here and there. But even with the snippets I know, I can tell they're messing up a lot. So she gets in, she goes up, and it takes ages because she's blind, but the Palantir is missing. It's not there. And so by this point, it's like, okay, the daughter took it. Like, are they really going to try and make a mystery out of this? Like, it's pretty obvious. They're subtle as a brick as always. Clearly, the daughter took it. She was the last one that saw the thing. I'm starting to get some faint little hints that Shad may not like this show. No, this is a horrible, painful, boring show that, you know, no entertainment value at all in the whole thing. So back to him. I forget what they see. All right. Here we. Oh boy. Here's the scene, everyone. This is the scene. This is the feel sorry for the orcs scene. This is amazing. So the orc is like basically complaining, and he doesn't want. He's like, "You said Sauron was dead. We don't need to send an army to go after him." And look, he literally, this is an orc saying, "Must we go to war again?" An orc. Orcs who friggin' love war. Remember, war is a buffet for them. All the meat they can eat, right? But no, now this we don't want to go to war. We're peaceful orcs. In fact, we never want. It was only our evil masters forcing us to be bad while we're bad. That's what the vibe that's really coming off of this. And must we go to war? And so remember, Adar, he considers him his father, and he actually might be their actual father. Like they say, if memory serves, I think they explain that he created the orcs, and he's like a corrupted version of an elf. And it seems like any child he fathers comes. I'm getting the impression that they come out like him. And so he's just been having endless orgies to breed a family, an army for, like, you know. Is that how it works? Is that how he created it? Like, correct me, but that's the impression that they give. Okay. You told me Sauron is dead, yet let us leave him that way. What a pathetic orc, man. Gosh. Don't you remember the let's just take one of the legs. They don't need those. Remember those orcs? Man, those are some orcs. This guy is just this wimp, pathetic. And then he's like, I tell you, if we don't defeat Sauron, that we will never truly be safe. It's all about the safety of the orcs. It feels like that, doesn't it? Right? Yeah, I'm powering through, baby. We're gonna get through this. We'll do it together. You can help me out. It's your support that sustains me in this quest. I know, right? What a pathetic orc. None of the meat's back on the menu, boys. No, this is we don't want to fight. We don't want to fight. Don't make us do it. And so we got to deal with Sauron, or never will truly be safe until we've made certain Sauron is no more. This is where we're at. They have pussified orcs. One of the great staples of fantasy, one of primary fantasy monsters, right? Pista Faduo Euro says, if Gary is holding your children hostage, please blink. No, Izard. I do it willingly. It's a sacrifice I'm happy to make because it has to be done. Okay, and then, as you will it, Lord Father, and get this, right? We see an orc mother cradling a baby. Orcs care about their young. I don't know if Lord of the Rings ever delved into, you know, the way orcs are well, they kind of did, really, with how the Uruk-hai were made. They grow in kind of like primordial puddles, almost popping out, nearly fully grown. I kind of got the impression the orcs and goblins are made similar to the Uruk-hai. And they had this kind of almost rotting connection where they kind of grow like rotting spores or something like that, right? Wasn't even sure if the orcs had male and female in Lord of the Rings, but now they're definitely trying to show that there's women orcs and they have children and they're just families and they're oppressed and misunderstood. And this is what we see here. This is the mother orc in the background. And look at how sad this was. This is in the thumbnail. Look at him. He's just a misunderstood orc. Dawnbreaker for $5 says, Shad, you should start a fund like as for a ballistic gel skeleton for one of your weapons test videos. It'd be sweet. Yeah, it would be. Ballistic gel is harder to get here in Australia. I would like that for one of my videos. So someone says, yes, from spores like mushrooms, same as orcs in Warhammer 40k. I thought that was that's the impression I got from the Uruk-hai. I'm not a lore expert, so if someone knows more better than us, feel free to correct us. But that, I think, yeah, is how it works. And that's kind of what Warhammer 40K kind of got inspired by. And then they're a corrupt form of life, not even truly alive. They don't have the spark of divinity in them. And that's why they can't be good. They're inherently evil, and they just want to feed off of what is actually real life. Why they're cannibals, and why they don't have gender. Okay, and they're just a genderless, evil perversion of life. Okay, so someone is saying orcs reproduce like every other race. I don't know. I like I said, correct us if I'm wrong. Because someone else says orc lore is they grow from primordial goo. So, like, maybe we need a reference to confirm this. But here they are showing they have mummy orcs and daddy orcs. And a baby orc starts crying, and they just nurse him, and it's like, get stuffed. No way orcs nurse and care for their young. Even if they were born naturally, they would throw them into a pit and feed them bones and let them fight over them like dogs so the strong would survive. That's how they would raise their friggin' young, okay? Don't give me this orcs are just tender loving parents bullcrap. But the orc baby is crying, and the orc daddy's like, oh, my poor baby, let me console it. And these are orcs! Evil perversions of life, but they're desperate for us to just see they're just misunderstood. Piss off. No flippin' way. We're not doing that. That is not Tolkien orcs. You're breaking the law again, as they've done constantly. And remember, though, remember what they said about season 2. That is going to be more accurate to the law, right? That's what they were saying. And we get this crap. No, don't let them gaslight you. Don't believe their lies. They're full of it. Come on. Normally 76 for 15 something. I appreciate, even though I don't know what it is, but I do appreciate the 15 something. This whole show is the writers trying to tell the story they want to tell in a setting and lore that doesn't fit it. Yeah. And I can't believe how dishonest they were. It's like, we are going to be even more accurate to the lore. And then we're going to completely bastardize the core fundamental world building element of Lord of the Rings by misunderstanding what the rings do. And now they are like completely bastardizing what orcs are. Yeah, by the way, they're basically comparing refugees to orcs is hilarious. So who compared that? It might have been one of the people involved with the show. The orcs cut down all the trees. Orcs equals evil. They eat people. They murder and eat people, killing babies, and just want you to like destroy, burn down, and consume all things that are good. I think that qualifies them as being quite evil. Yeah, orcs are biological perversions used as weapons. That's exactly what they are. Okay. So this is laughable and embarrassing for what they're doing here. Look at this. Come off it. And then he's going to give the sad face. He's now cradling his wife and child, and take a look at this. Take a look at this. We're just this is the scene right here. We're just misunderstood. Look at those misunderstood orcs that never wanted to do nothing bad. They never wanted to eat babies. They never wanted to murder. It was just the bad overlords. It was Morgoth and Sauron. They forced them to do it. They would just be peaceful, family-loving, wholesome orcs if it wasn't for that. Because that's what, Tolkien wrote about orcs, right? That's lore accurate, right? Yeah, they eat each other, I'm pretty sure, when they get really hungry. And they'll eat anything. They done nothing wrong. Now I know what the saying, a face only a mother can love. Right there. Gosh. Absolute disgrace. Can't believe this is... They think this is Lord of the Rings, but it's not. We all know this is fan fiction, right? But I'm still insulted that they dared try and propose this as being Lord of the Rings. Get stuffed. We're not having it. Not having it at all. Unbelievable. All right, so where are we now? Because it's a scene transition. And I'm checked out. Oh, all right, that's right. It's a troll. And I think they said this troll is based off of a guy from Breaking Bad. Okay. Do you see it? I don't see it. I don't see it. Yeah, I think is that Mike Ermenthal? I think this is what they based him off of. So we now have a troll joining Adar, and is just like this one. So Adar starts to introduce him, right? He's like, "Welcome, what's his name?" And then he says this, "Killer of stone giants." And I had to take a bit of a spit out. Like, hang on, what? What? We can elaborate a bit, but first we're going to go to the super chat. Piston for $2. Shad, who's your favorite unnamed orc from Lord of the Rings? Good question. Look, is he unnamed, or he says, you know, what about their legs? They don't need those. That guy is top tier orc right there. And if you're referring to like orcs, but the Urukai, you know, do we throw them together? Because the one that fights Eregion is top tier as well. Even though technically he's not an orc, it's an Urukai. So this one, like Killer of Stone Giants, and I'm like, hold up. Didn't we get to see like Aura, you know, what the stone giant are they going with like Hobbit stone giants? Right? Those crazy stone giants. Because if they're going with like the stone giants that the Hobbit films predicted, but even in the novels, I think they refer like the stone giants throwing boulders at each other. And I can't remember them telling how big they are. But piss off, this troll killed a stone giant. No, okay. So now, and all this is just to say, he's arrived. Adar called him for some purpose, and because Prime is Prime, it's going to give us an ad. So I'll let the ad play through and see how you guys are going. Does the troll break bad? We will find out. I guess we'll find out. I'm interested. What will the troll's role be in the story? The troll should have been played by Nick Cage. Probably. I reckon Nick Cage could pull it off. I like Bolg for the fact he won a battle versus Legolas. Yeah. And Lord of the Rings is some of the best orcs and trolls. Okay. So that's the end of that scene. And we are back at Eregion. And so, look, I mean, one thing that you have to admit, it looks pretty nice, don't you reckon? I like, but what a waste of money. It's wasted on this series. As we see Eregion, it looks pretty cool. And it's back to Celebrimbor, and now Durin has arrived. And they're basically saying, all right, we want to make rings for you, Durin, because we want to save you. That's really the reasoning they give. Now, we know Sauron's reasoning. This is where he's going to be part of the creation of these rings and corrupt them. Okay? But Celebrimbor, he kind of explains his motivations in these scenes. It's for glory. This is going to be the greatest work he will have ever made, and it's his time to shine. So it's vanity. Celebrimbor is just a vain idiot, and it's doing it. And that's attached on tangentially with, it'll also save the dwarves' lives. We'll do that as well, yeah, because that's good. Okay. But is convinced that this is the solution. And that's basically it. This is a setup scene. Okay. Durin, I have to say, is the only not insufferable character. Am I the only one who's getting that? I'm interested to see what other people's impressions are. Durin seems like I could watch a series with Durin in it. I think the actor does a good job, and I can enjoy his character. They do go out of their way to make him pretty weak, like he's getting bullied in the last episode and stuff like that. But so that's a failing of the writing around the character. But I think Durin, actually, the character himself, I could enjoy this guy, and best one by far. That's kind of the impression I get, and he sure looks the part. Yeah, exactly, right. And so Durin is the only one who is suspicious of Sauron here, and is like, "Who are you?" Well, first there's a conversation about you're going to want Mithril. We need Mithril to make it. Oh, there was this thing that this show is desperate because Durin is cool, right? But the show is desperate to make him look like an idiot. Okay, and we see it in this scene. So they're going to propose the plan, okay? And they're going to make some rings for him. And so, because Durin asks, what are we going to do? We can make rings for you. So I'm pretty sure that's Celebrimbor saying rings, right? Maybe it's worth listening to this. We'll go slowly. And hang on, I just need to all right, so let's see what he says.
One for each of Middle-earth's most
powerful dwarf lords.
Powerful dwarf lords.
And
you brought us here to barter jewelry.
All right, so that's his line. Like Durin, he doesn't really get a thing. But then they have to just kind of cut him down and look at Deezer's reaction. Because remember, Deezer is the smart one. Durin's an idiot. Deezer's smart. And so her response to Durin saying, "You brought us here to barter jewelry."
These rings.
She look at her. She sighs and looks at us like, "What an idiot. Obviously, they're not just rings, right?" And so the only redeeming thing in the series, they go out of their way to just cut him down and make him look like a buffoon. He gets bullied. He looks weak. And then he's an idiot because Deez is the smart one. Remember, Deez is the one that senses the earthquake. She's the one that knows what he needs to do to make amends with his father. Deezer is always right. Pay attention to that. And Durin is always having to be corrected, which is annoying because he's the most likable part of the show so far, but is constantly getting cut down and subverted by everything around him. Dawnbreaker for $5. Sounds like they're trying to combine Lord of the Ring orcs with Elder Scrolls orcs. Both are vicious fighters, but Elder Scrolls orcs are a race just like man and elves. Yeah, like in Elder Scrolls specifically, but not in Lord of the Rings. Not in Lord of the Rings. In Elder Scrolls, the orcs are a noble race, they're just as much kind of human in that sense as anyone else. And it works for that series, but that's not Lord of the Rings. Dawnbreaker for $2 says, as in they have good and bad members. That might be related to your previous super chat. So sorry if I missed the context there, but still thank you for it. So I wanted to point out show that where they're just cutting Durin down. And then there's the regular conversation about, they need Mithril to make the rings. They're going to be magical and they will fix the problems you have in your mountain. So Durin's like, okay, yeah, that's interesting. Why are you talking to me about it? And Celebrimbor's like, well, your father isn't very, open to accepting outside aid. And then Durin's like, well, I'm not speaking on terms of my father, so you might be up a creek with that one. But then Deezer, of course, corrects him. She's like, well, no, we'll figure this out. Then Anatar comes down, trying to convince him. And Durin, he's not having it. He doesn't trust old Anatar there. Axi for $2. In Elder Scrolls, orcs are a type of elf. Makes sense. Makes sense. Technically, in Lord of the Rings, orcs are also a type of elf. They're just corrupted and perverted, and so they're not really elves anymore, but they were once. So Sauron says, like, yeah, I know Elrond. And and so Durin's like, do you now? Where's Elrond? And anyway, so clearly Sauron, Halbrand, now Anatar, is lying through his rear end, lying out of his ass here, right? But would he be this dumb to, because he obviously knows the context here that Durin is friends with Elrond and is presuming certain things. And then he says, like, Elrond said you were the wisest dwarf he ever met.
Elrond.
Let me get rid of that audio because we get... And yeah, he's like, he's doing something over there. He couldn't come because helping, his elf friends. But he said you were so wise. And it's like, you're really assuming a lot there. Are you that dumb to just make up crap? And because, of course, it's really suspicious because Durin knows Elrond would never say that about him. And he says it so later on. So Sauron seems to be being way too careless in trying to keep this ruse going, and he makes up a lot. Like later on, he also lies to Celebrimbor saying, "Oh, yeah, the king he ordered you to not make the rings," and we'll talk about that because that lie could backfire on him massively. Okay, and so it's coming off very arbitrary that he's read the script, essentially. He knows what's going to happen and he can make these gambles and it's always going to pay off in the way that he intends when it's not playing out realistically, especially with some of these bold-faced lies that he spits out. This is how stupid people imagine clever people to be manipulative. Seems like that. So, because this is where Durin is saying, yeah, Elrond wouldn't talk about me like that. And magic rings might not really work out. But Deezer, she knows what's right. So she's like, you just need to do what I tell you, basically. The king needs to know about it. Look, Deezer should be in charge, right? Because they're constantly having her show up, Durin. And you know why. It's because, they can't dare, make women appear naive or dumb in comparison to another man, right? Because that would be sexist, and you don't want to be perceived being sexist. That's the kind of, I'm reading into it, and I'm sure there might be exceptions to the general trend that we're seeing, but the general trend that we're seeing is that, man, the men are going to be dumb, and the women, they'll always tell the men and show them what the right course of action is. It really kind of feels like it. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's such a general trend in so much media that when you see it, you can't help but be suspicious that has been in something that has influenced the decisions for having the characters act these ways. Well, that's not an orc. How dare you say Deezer is supposed to be an orc? Or not supposed to be. I mean, does he look? I don't know. We're going on. We're moving forward. Because Deezer's right. And Durin, you just need to do what you're told. Okay, so this is where Sauron starts to, just spit some massive lies. And so we'll get to, he hints at saying something that the High King has said something, and is like, what about the High King? Spit it out. Tell me, man. Don't hide your intentions. And so, no, I should not. I can't tell it because he's being so clever and manipulative here. Well, that's what the writers want you to believe. It's like, no, speak up, speak plainly. Tell me what is going on. All right, so let's get some of his lines. So Sauron tells him, your High King believes the dwarves to be unworthy of his power, of this power. That might be correct, okay? But then he goes on to say something. Now, this is the thing, right? What he says next, I actually think should be what the High King should order. Flat. Just, no, we are banning making any of these rings, you idiot. Because the High King knows that Sauron, has been involved in all this. So the High King believes that dwarves are unworthy of this power, but then he thinks the rings should, he doesn't even know I'm here, and he thinks we should not make any rings of power at all. And this response from Grimbor, old Grimby face, in fact, he has forbidden the forging of any more rings at all. That's definitely what the king should have ordered. Okay. This is such a damn, like what a stupid thing, right? Again, this is him reaching into the ether and knowing the plot of the story. He's reading the script ahead of time. Because what if this backfired and Brimbor, Celebrimbor, says, oh, okay, if the king ordered that, yeah, all right, well, we better follow his orders, and I'll just discuss with him a bit later. What'd you do about that then, Sauron? You know, they got in your face. This comment could massively backfire on him. But is it his magic? He can read Celebrimbor's mind. He's seeding arrogance into him to usurp the king. But that's not a guarantee. We've seen people resist the influence of the shadow, right? Corrupting influence. And Celebrimbor could have just responded like, okay, well, if the High King ordered that, you're right. But of course, you know, they are giving Anatar like an unreasonable amount of foresight and a knowledge of how Celebrimbor would respond here. And if they're going to say, no, that he has his Sauron magic, so he just knew that this is how Brimbor would respond. Really? Why hasn't he used that magic at any other useful time to him previous, right? They're so flippant arbitrary about what powers Sauron actually has and can use on people, okay? Because he definitely misreads Galadriel heaps of times in season 1, right? He can't use his... Why wasn't he using his powers to predict how she would respond in all these things back then? It's arbitrary nonsense. So no, the fact that, oh, he's just got magic. One, it doesn't make sense because it's completely inconsistent. If that is the answer, it's terribly lazy. And because it's not consistent with everything else, it just is contradictory. Maybe it's the wig, because it's one wig to rule them all. His wig debuffs intelligence. That might be it. It might be the wig. But in reality, this is retarded. This is stupid. But Celebrimbor, right? His response is also retarded. He's just like, screw the king. It's like, what? At any other, show me, at any other point did he show such rebelliousness to the king before it? And I was making me like double question myself. Is Celebrimbor, is he like a one of the, is he a vassal king under the king? And this is his own dominion and he has more autonomy in his own, because he basically says, who's the king to tell me what to do in my own domain or something like that? Let's listen to him. Because well, what business is of his of how I conduct myself in my own realm? So that made it sound like, hang on, does Celebrimbor, is he like, king in his own right? Does he not need to follow the High King Gil-galad? But I assume even if it's like a subordinate king to the High King, he would still have to obey the High King, would he not? Am I going crazy? Life 1042 for $5 says, why are all the people in Rings of Power so weird looking and ugly? Why no elves that look like Liv Tyler, right? They lost the plot with that. None of the elves in Rings of Power look ageless. Look at Brimbor here. He looks old. And Gil-galad looks fat and not timeless or an ethereal. And yeah, does not make sense. Okay. Again, because is it that, they have, they feel like too many pretty elves is problematic? That sets unrealistic standards. We need representation. We need old elves. We need pudgy elves. We need all the elves. Wow, I'm actually catching Shad live, not on FNT. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. It is great to have you. Realm equals bedroom. But I like oppressing orcs. Me too. Orcs deserve it. Orcs are evil, vile things. The best orc is a dead orc. That's how it should be for most fantasy, unless you're like Elder Scrolls. But for like Lord of the Rings, best orc is a dead orc. 100%. Okay. Elves are the unrealistic standard. That's made Numenor fall. They wanted to be so much like them, they lost everything. Yeah, they even tried to invade. Numenor tried to invade the Undying Lands at one point, didn't they? So yeah, the Numenoreans were very jealous of the elves. Elves are immortal and beautiful and ethereal, but can't. They're too beautiful for rings of power. They need to make them, not as pretty. They're not angelic beings, essentially. Best goblin is a dead goblin. Best demon is a dead demon. Freerian. That's the anime, isn't it? I haven't watched that, but I've heard a good report. If that's the, I don't know, is it white-haired, blonde, magic elf fantasy anime thing? It's caught my interest. People have been saying it's decent. Might have to check it out. So his response here feels out of character and rebellious and downright treasonous. Dawnbreaker for $10. Technically, they are right. Elder Scroll orcs were once elves, but they were corrupted by Daedric Prince, and they and a lot of other races don't consider themselves any longer. Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you for the super chat. So Brimbor's just like, well, screw the king. I'm like, okay, Brimbor, that's out of character and ballsy and doesn't feel like you at all. But okay, it's the Sauron magic. He's doing it. But then it's like countless lives are at risk. I mean, are they? All that's happened with the dwarves is that their light tunnels collapsed. It's not too. They're not like at the cusp of utter annihilation. Calm down. So he's overplaying what's really going on here. Countless lives are at risk if we don't act. Men are just being the race of men are just being the race of men. They're being destroyed, and you've already saved the elves, so this as well doesn't fit with what's actually going on. And it's like, nevertheless, sooner or later, Gil-galad will discover the truth. So he's going to send a letter, and he's going to lie now. He's going to send a letter to Gil-galad and say, yeah, we're not making any rings at all anymore, my liege. Honest truth, my liege. So this is a massive, massive lie. Now, for Sauron to continue this ruse, he has to basically ensure no one break through to Eregion and expose him. Remember, Galadriel's on her way, and she's going to recognize him because he's not wearing a mask. He's just wearing a wig. And so they better not do the stupid thing that it seemed like they were indicating in the trailers, where it's just the wig is going to... No, it seems very clear that Galadriel is going to recognize him as soon as she sees him, which makes it odd why Sauron didn't change his form entirely to help encourage him hiding his form. That's all he needed to do. Come in a new form when he appears as Anatar and tell Celebrimbor to say, don't tell anyone I was Halbrand. We need to keep this a secret, okay? Galadriel, she got upset when I revealed that I was a different person. And he would, but again, the reason why they didn't is that they don't want to get rid of the actors. Probably signed up for however many seasons, and that would require recasting. And so they're going to allow the really stupid thing to happen instead, which is going to keep the same face, which is dumb. He has the ability to change his form. Of course, he would have done that. Okay, am I going to review Lord of the Rings Rohirrim anime? Very likely. Very likely I'm going to review that and see if it goes off the rails that we're afraid of. I hope it doesn't. I actually want that to be good. Okay. Yeah, right. It's almost as if they stuck with Tolkien's words. It would have made sense. Yeah, maybe. Like, you might have a point. Just a smidge, right? Just a smidge. So Brimbor is like, he's not going to take away. This is my moment. And he acts like an idiot. All right. This is an interesting, somewhat pointless scene. Isildur, Elendil, whatever his name is thirsty. He wants some water. The water's mucky, so he won't drink it because it's got dead people in it. But he sees... they don't really indicate this. Like, this whole scene just to explain how he finds a sword, because it drags on. You know what they could have done? Just he's riding along, sees a dead Numenorean sword, picks it up instead of this drawn out, oh, I'm thirsty. Will I take a drink? Won't I take a drink? Gonna look in. And also it's confusing because they don't actually show him grabbing it. Like, if you're just watching this, could you tell that that's the hilt of a sword? I recognize it because I'm an autist when it comes to swords. And if I see a sword, I'm like, show me that sword. Show me that sword. And I recognize this from season 1. And look, the people that they got to do the props, they actually designed some half decent swords, but the show doesn't deserve the credit or acknowledgement because it doesn't deserve those well-designed swords. They are in an unworthy show for them. And this is one of the classic standard, I should say, Numenorean swords. Well, you only see the hilt. So if you didn't know it, if you're not so retarded like me to pay really close attention, you probably wouldn't even recognize this as the handle of the sword. You're like, oh, what's that? Some horsey thing? Okay. And then that's all they show. He looks in and is like, dead people. And then the next thing, he has a wet foot and is on his horse riding away. And blink and you miss it. This is, they don't really do a close up, right? But that's him on his horse. And I had to watch this twice to confirm because, like I said, they don't draw any attention to it, but he's now wearing a sword. Before, he was not wearing a sword. Now he wears a sword. They don't show him grabbing it or anything. Because what happened, right? I did not notice him have this sword when he's riding away on the horse. But I did notice him have a sword in the next scene when he's trying to help out this girl and he ends up getting in a fight and he has a sword. And I was like, where the hell did he get that thing from? So I had to go back and double check, and it was here, but they don't show him picking it up. So it's just really poorly filmed. This is a classic example of terrible visual storytelling. It seems like the whole purpose of this scene was to explain that he picked up a sword, yet they don't show him actually picking it up. And so you miss it. And I had to go back just to confirm it. Exactly. This is not only bad visual communication, this is terrible visual communication. Okay? But that seems to be the purpose of the scene. And so it was this scene where he's like riding along, and there's like, hang on. I saw the sword and I was like, where did he get that? Where did he get that? And yeah, I went back then and then double checked. And that's from the pool. So terrible visual storytelling. What a weird thing to dedicate time to. Yeah, like they give a mini scene, and it could have been done really quickly and much more efficiently. It's right, like this scene could be it, right? And he walks past a dead Numenorian and he picks up this, or just in the next scene, he could have picked up a sword there because there are dead Numenorians in the next scene. He sees this, broken down cart, and look, there's like dead Numenorians on the ground. So he could have, and look, there's even a shield right here. Do you see the shield? Okay. So right there. So he could have just also found a sword here. Completely unnecessary. That entire first thing. They could have just cut straight to here. There's a cart. There's a aftermath of the battle. Look, dead Numenorian right there. Pretty sure you could have found a sword on him. But instead they wanted to waste time because they're incompetent. Dutch of Sorisi for $4.99 says, I'd love to see a fight scene autopsy on Norseman season 1 episode 1 on Netflix. It's a comedy, but it ends with a sweet duel. I actually think I've watched some of Norseman. It's actually kind of quirky at times. I don't remember the fight though, and I need to rewatch it. So maybe that's a maybe. I could do a mini autopsy on Shadiversity with that. We have Life 1042 of $5 says, Kate Blanchett narration at the start of Lord of the Rings gives me goosebumps when she says, and all of them were deceived. No good actors with $1 billion budget. Yeah, they have nothing like that. Not only that, Rings of Power, they're trying to show that none of them were deceived. Galadriel and the king, Gil-galad, they know exactly what Sauron's plan is. They say it in episode 2. His plan is to make rings so that he can subjugate all life. None of them are deceived. That line now, they contradict that line 100%. The only one being deceived is Celebrimbor, it seems like. Nonsense. So anyway, he now has a sword. He finds a saddle because his horse, I don't think, had a saddle. Yeah, he's riding it without a saddle. But he finds some really nice Numenorian saddles there. He could have found a sword here and they would have saved time. But there's a lady underneath the cart. So she's there, right? And she just goes full on, stabs him in the leg. And she says, I thought you were an orc. And I'm like, hold up. You didn't check? He's obviously not an orc. Like, does he look like an orc to anyone? Tell me if I'm on, like, yeah, one glance, not even half a second glance, and you're like, clearly not an orc. And she should be hiding like underneath somewhere. Like, it's bullcrap. But either she's bleedingly stupid or the writing is stupid to try and say, yeah, that's why she thought she was an orc, and stabs him right in the thigh. This would hurt so much, right? And this is nearly a lethal wound if she got an artery there, right? Right on the thigh. And he just pulls her out, drops her like a sack of spuds. And she's like, I'm sorry, I thought you were an orc. It's like, do I look like an orc, you idiot? Clearly you saw me right up on the horse. You flaming stupid. Now, I wonder if they're going to try and say, no, she knew he wasn't an orc. She was actually trying to murder him, just failed. And that was her lame excuse. Why could she, actually be evil? They show at the end of this episode, she has the mark of Adar on the back of her neck, hidden by her hair. She's sworn allegiance to Adar. So maybe she's actually evil and she was trying to kill him. Okay. But then this raises the question, dude, you're going to believe her when she says, I thought you were an orc? I'll be like, did you see me, woman? Do I look like an orc, you idiot? Oh, gosh. In her defense, it's not always easy to tell who's an orc in this show. Oh, my gosh. But anyway, he's like, okay. Doesn't hurt. No, but it does. Because, they try to have some humor with this. It doesn't hurt. Of course it hurts. You stabbed me in the thigh, you stupid woman. Then she says she's looking for someone, and yeah, he's trying to get somewhere. He's trying to find my father. My father's at their camp. So he's saying my father's going to be at the camp with the Numenoreans. But then he's like, oh, you've already been there, haven't you? And they're not even there. And yeah, so you've already been there, haven't you? To the camp he's going to. She's like, yep, nothing but hoof prints. You've been left behind, left for dead. And so now they're going to be, all right, we'll just head to old Numenorean outpost. So that's where they're headed. And so the outpost is off there in the distance. Pellegrin, old Numenorean settlement, right over there. That's where they're headed. Are you guys like, this is riveting stuff. Really engaging. So riveted. All right. Here is I say funny because it's kind of humorous because they need to have their epic moment. This is is so awesome moment. It's the overpowered NPC. There's a guy who's injured. They're going to ask what's help. And like instantly this looks suspect. And I'm also thinking, dude, what happened last time? You just ran into a situation like this with a cart kind of just, off the side. There was no one there last time. You still got jumped. Now there's a guy who's lying there injured. You just got stabbed in the thigh checking out a cart that's broken. Have you learnt nothing? Are you an idiot? But he just waltzes up. Yeah, sure. This isn't suspect at all. Exactly. He was just stabbed. Yeah, oh dear Lord, they did. Yeah, they just like, oh my gosh. And so he just waltzes up and, are you fine? Let's give him some food. Give him some food. And then, oh, wouldn't you know it? It's a trap. Who could have seen that coming? I mean, you were just like jumped in the previous scene in the same situation. You didn't learn a thing from that. And now you're going to get jumped. Bloody hell, this is so dumb. Okay, and so they get jumped by brigands. And he just gets rolled. The girl gets rolled. His horse gets stolen. And he is dead. He's totally just absolutely stuffed. Now, this reminds me of something. This harkens back to something that we might have seen in the previous episodes. Because something like like this happens multiple times where a character gets in a position in which it looks like they're probably going to die. So are they going to save themselves through their own ingenuity? Are they going to come up with something clever? Or is the plot just going to save them? Is Deus Ex Machina, the hand of God, just going to come in and save him? What do you guys think? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think... of course, you know what's going to happen. The writers are incompetent, and this is what they do. They've done this multiple times. Oh, we're dying in a desert. We're going to die of thirst. And then randomly we walk right up to a well in the middle of a desert. Think of it, a desert, vast distances. You change your trajectory on a desert by like this much, right? And after so many miles, you are miles like in a different position. And so the likelihood of you just randomly stumbling upon a well that gives you water when you're walking across a flipping desert is astronomical. There's no like seriously, it's a miracle. It's the hand of God, right? That would have caused that to happen. Oh, you like my shirt? Every geek should have a sword. This actually was available on the merch site. This is one of our merch shirts. I'm not sure if it's still available, but if you like it, we can try and see if it's still available. Because we are trying to go to we had them on Teespring. We might be jumping to another site and relaunching our merch. But this, I like them. I wear them. I reckon they're cool. So yeah, so incompetent, and it's a pattern with this show is that when they write themselves into a corner and they don't have the skill or talent to think of a solution to make the characters solve the issue. And this is what's annoying. It's actually fun as a writer. Yes, I'm a writer. My novel right there. It's fun when this happens, when you come up to a challenge that the characters, you know, are going to be faced by something, and it's. I find it fun. It's a logical puzzle, a brain teaser. Think like, all right, what could the characters do using their own talents, abilities, and the tools around them to have them solve that situation? And it's a fun challenge. And then when you come up with something clever, man, it feels good. And then it becomes off as satisfying for the reader as well. Life 1042 $5 says, did you know Rings of Power Season 2 was shot in and around London? They moved it from New Zealand Season 1. No wonder it looks wrong. But why change now? I think it was tax breaks and stuff. They were getting shafted because New Zealand is, going off the rails with their government, right? And so like, well, it's not worth it. They literally abandoned the studios and stuff, I think, like effectively, and moved them to the UK to film it there because of better tax allowances. So that it's fun when you have that challenge as a writer, but these writers don't seem to be, they can't figure it out. It's like they come up to an issue that the character faced with, and their best solution is just to have the hand of God save them. And it's happening multiple times. And so Elendil, or whatever his name is stuffed. He's about to be murdered. But lucky for him, who comes and saves him? Who do you guys think it is? Actually, because have I revealed who this is? Who comes and save him? I want the chat to try and guess. Who do you think comes and save him in this horrible, terrible, situation? We see a woman, Galadriel. There we go. The chat, you got it. It's that discount Legolas, baby. Do you remember him? Also known as Don Lemonless. Like the chances of him just, big, wide, vast forest, that he is right there at this specific time in this exact location to save their lives. Piss off. The astronomical unlikelihood of that happening. But is about to be murdered, is stuffed, and then, yep, that's right, Don Lemonless himself. Ready? Is about, and look at the timing. This is the death strike. He's about to get murdered. And so if he was just even 2 seconds late, this guy is dead. But lucky for him, and truly lucky for him, boom, arrow in the arm, arrow in that guy, arrow again. Are those arrows coming from different locations? That looked weird. Let's replay that. Let's full screen this and pay attention. Okay, so yep, is going down. Is teasing him. Is about to kill him. All right. Boom. We get a clear direction of where that arrow came from. This direction, up over here. Okay. Look. All right. So that means Discount Legolas is in that direction, right? Then this guy gets shot in the shoulder from a completely different direction. Oh, Dom Legolas is just teleporting now. The arrow came in from this direction, hit this guy in the arm coming down here, and then this arrow comes from the viewpoint of where the camera is, almost from a completely different spot. I was like, oh no, it's elf magic. Shad broke the matrix. Magic arrows, people. And then let's see where this other one comes from. Okay, that one also came from the same direction as the second, but the first one was a completely different direction. It's not that hard. Come on. It's not unreasonable to demand that, hey, if someone is shooting arrows, the arrow should come from the same direction. How could you fail at that? In no freaking way. But they did, and they failed at that. Oh, yeah. Don spent all that time learning how to double jump. He just teleported. Remember, $1 billion, people. $1 billion shows. There is no continuity in this show. This is amazing. I can't. Oh. Wow. Wow. We're not done yet because they don't even know where it's coming from. And this guy's on a horse. He's going to ride off on a horse. He grabs. Why is he grabbing her? To protect her? But is her life in danger? He's like, get down, get down. Yeah, okay. He's throwing her to safety. There he is. Flips down from a tree. And I think that tree, like, well, okay. If I understand where things are, because if I can, the horse was here just before, okay? And they are like where the camera is, that's the viewpoint of where they were standing. And so the first arrow that hit the guy in the arm could have come from where he was in the tree. But then, and so because the guy gets hit in the arm, but then two arrows come from this direction and hits people front on. And so it's not even like in the location those two other arrows where they're going to come from. Oh. I keep forgetting what this is supposed to be in all laughter, which just makes me laugh harder when I remember. They want this to be serious. This is a comedy, and if it is, it's a tragic comedy. Wow. So he flips down, rolls, and he is just doing all what? No. Have you guys seen it? Did you guys just realize what I just realized? Can you figure it out? He's on the other side of the cart. The horse wasn't standing there. The horse was on the far side of the cart. The people got shot. See where the cart is? The people got shot in front of the cart around here. That he was in the tree up here. That means none of the arrows came from his direction. They literally came from the opposite direction. Yeah, like, wait a moment. What? Did it move? Like, no. Oh my gosh. It's not hard to get that continuity. Like, it was bad enough to have two of the arrows. Now it's shown he was in the complete opposite direction. None of the arrows even came from that direction. How could you fail that bad? Genuinely, my expectations were low, but holy crap. Yep, he just jumped from one tree to another. This is so bad. My gosh. I can't believe that. And look, see, he jumps out of the cart doing this flippy thing, and that's We have the positioning. This confirms it all. Okay. Because we saw them standing on this side of the cart over here. That's where it all went down. Because if it went on down on this side, which is the direct, the dead bodies would be there. Holy crap. The arrows didn't even get shot from history. Oh, wow. So he flips out, and they are so desperate for him to be awesome. He's so awesome, guys. See how awesome he is? He is just going to murk everyone. Mind equals player right. Oh, I don't like... did he hit the sides while spinning? I missed it. Do you want to... We'll go back and try and rewatch it. Comes completely from the opposite direction. Okay, so they jump to the side. They're hiding there. Let's full screen this and watch it together. And this is him jumping out. And right before we jump out, we're going to grab the super chat. Dawnbreaker for $2 says, Galadriel, the lady of fright instead of light. Fits her. That's a fitting title for her. Absolutely. Oh, look at how awesome, Discount Legolas is. Flipping down in the opposite direction, jumps in the cart, bursts out of the cart, doing this weird back spinning flip. The guy falls down. I don't even know if it's actually hit then. And then look how awesome he is, everyone. Just because remember, his is so awesome. He's gonna murk this guy, stab him with an arrow, pull out, trip that didn't even look like his foot connected then, spin around, and they're running away. And so he's definitely gonna just what happened then? Was that a stab or a punch? Oh no, arrow through the throat. That would be nasty. And I could agree with that one. This one is funny, right? It's an arrow, and it's not a blade. It's an arrowhead. Power Rangers has more realistic fighting than this crap. Well, if you want realism, wait until you see this. Watch what he does here. Arrowhead, right? Bang! Slices a guy's throat open with an arrow. Wow! He is so awesome. Did you guys see that? And then they show the arrowhead, and it's a thin, tidy arrowhead. No way that's slicing someone's throat open like a sword. Get stuffed. Don't give me this. We might need to rewatch it because that was pretty bad. So maybe that did connect. Got to be careful of the copyright, so we can't play it too much. Yeah, a spin move, right? This is Power Rangers. Gummy Bears. Man, I love the Gummy Bears theme song. That goes hard, man. If you don't believe me, listen to the Gummy Bears theme song. That is a rockin' song. Yeah, Shad's favorite, spinning. All right, so we want to see that slice. So he just punches, grabs, then stabs with the... All right, and this is... Watch this. Watch this. He just slices him with the arrow. So dumb. And then goes and shoots. Straight away, in the back, is dead. And look, these guys deserved it. Go, Don Lemonless, new Mighty Morphin. Powered Lemonless. I'm surprised it's not breakdancer, all right? They were so desperate to be awesome. He just awesomed all over the place. There is awesome everywhere. There is so much awesome that these guy is just falling down dead from the awesomeness. Literally. And then he posed like, I'm so hard. That's what his... Oh, I can't stand it when they try so hard like this. It just feels desperate. Good thing he was just walking by at that exact moment. Otherwise, you were stuffed, Elendil. And also funny, then he's just like, see yous. I'm done. Set up like wild men outnumber us. Many to one in these woods. Yeah. So there's lots of wild men, right? And then is like, deal with your own crap. I'm out. Peace. So Eladil was like, my horse, I can't abandon him. My horse is special. Will you help me get my horse? And he's like, nah, settle your own affairs as it seems best. And he's like, see ya. Like, wow, it's he really seems to care about you. Like, what could there be? There might be more wild men in the forest. They could be killed. And he's like, get stuffed. I'm done. Well, then why'd you bother saving your life if you don't give a crap about him? Settle your own affairs. It seems you best. I got to deal with my own crap. That's what he says. I have my own affairs to attend to. Piss off. Jerk. Man. I know, right? Like, wow, what a way to repay the troops from the army that just saved your village. It's just like, piss off. I saved your life. That's enough. Now get stuffed. You can deal with your own horse. Jerk. He's such an he was bland and boring and unlikable in the first season, and they're just doubling down with that. What a unlikable, boring piece of crap of a character. He's all tuckered out after his sonic spin. I know, right? First you save the bastard, then abandon him. Wow. That's right, Invictus Dominus. Yeah, the continuity is unbearable. This is such slop. Holy crap. So that was a mini kind of fight scene breakdown of that scene. And remember, they said they have an entire episode that's like that's an entire battle. That might break me. That one might do me in. Wow. Yeah, he used all his magic teleporting. I think he started off with more arrows than 3, if I remember. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, now he only has 3. We have a super chat from Dawnbreak, $5. Nah, these characters would be called the Rip-Off Rangers. Go Rip-Off Rangers. I've been watching an anime called Go Loser Ranger, which is like a parody send-up where there's the Rangers are basically all jerks and basically corrupt and villainous, and it's a story about one of the henchmen trying to take him down. It's kind of quirky and funny. I haven't finished it, but that's been fun. Okay, wow, that was absolute crap. Didn't he was just so awesome. Now, do you remember? I forget her name. Arwen Gwendwyn know something like chat. Do you remember her name? She was the boss lady for the Southlanders, and she was always so awesome. Remember how she killed that orc, and she proved to everyone that the orcs are there. No one would believe it, but then she killed the orc because she's so great. And then she was basically the only smart one amongst them. I forget her name. Bronwyn. Thank you, Carmen Ryder. Bronwyn. Oh, she's dead now. Yeah, she's just dead. I think it's because the actress wasn't returning. But yeah, she's just dead now. Not that I cared about her, but still, you spent an entire season trying to prop her up as this such important leader, and now she's dead. I mean, it seems odd. If an entire season desperate to make her into something important, just recast her if she's that important. But it seems like the show didn't give a crap about her either, because no one watching it gave a crap about her. Pissing for 2 Euro says, when I saw Don Lemonless girlfriend die off screen, I was dead. Well, here it is. This is it. Yep. She's just dead. Don Lemonless is really upset about it. And it's like, it turns out, I guess it was the wound she had at the end of the season. They were saying she was getting better, but no, she just died off screen. That's it. Yeah, like I don't blame the actress. She was an activist, though. She actually kind of said that, blatantly that she is an activist. So she was all on board with the message, right? So I'm not sure. I don't think she was leaving the show because she thought maybe it wasn't the activism because she probably loved that side of the stuff, but maybe she just saw it for what it was. This is a sinking ship, and that's what she left for. Died off screen. She'll come back. Oh, wouldn't surprise me. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good question. After he walked away, how long before he turns around to collect the rest of his arrows? I was expecting him to try and get more of those arrows back. Yeah. Yeah, didn't even get a replacement actor. I wonder if we should go back to the previous scene to show the arrowhead. There, right here. You see it. This is the arrowhead right there. That is what slit the guy's throat open to kill him instantly. That needle right there, that toothpick. Get stuffed. That's not slitting a person's throat open. Oh my god. Maybe if it was like super sharp, but look, I'm not buying it. Usually arrowheads are blunt and even on the side. And it's just about the needlepoint. If this is like a needlepoint bodkin, it's not even sharp on the sides. Yeah, exactly. Seems like a bodkin point, right? Specifically a needlepoint bodkin. That is not slicing someone's throat open. But this show is just so full of it. So Bronwyn's dead. I can't do it right, but it's the Top Gear meme is like, oh no. Anyway, that's the reaction, right? Like, she was an annoying character. This is him remembering her. Do you remember Bronwyn, right? Don't make us remember. This is not a pleasant flashback. Who cares? He cares. He's really cut up about it. Theo's really cut up about it. He doesn't like Discount Legolas. He's sad. Theo's sad. And now we're back with the dwarves. That was it. He just needed that scene to let you know she's dead. He's got his own stuff to deal with. Everyone else can get stuffed. Horrible. Anyway. More or less believable than Legolas and his throat stab. Gosh, don't know. Theo has such a dopey walk and posture. You have a bit of a point then. I don't think the actor puts on this expression all the time, because in the show he's constantly looking like a dopey idiot. All right, the dwarves. The dwarves are all lining up, and it's the merchants because they want to get the grain. The guy comes in to tells the king the merchants want the grain. This is the guy telling the king. So the king is like, all right, I'll see him. And then it's actually not him. It's Durin. Durin has come to speak with him. He's been saying the whole episode, I'm not going to speak to my father. Then he's come to see his father. And again, Durin is the only barely likable thing in this show, man. $10 super chat from Ledge. Hi from Wagga Wagga. Thanks for the high energy breakdowns of that fight. Maybe save some energy for FNT. I'll do my best. I'll survive. I'll do it. And thank you for the super chat. Dawnbreaker for $5. What would be better is if all the characters died off screen and just cut to the end. I would love it. That would be great. And they don't even need to show them. Just have and everyone died. The end. Masterful ending. Better than what they'll have, guaranteed. Better ending than what they have. So, Durin, right? This is a wasted actor in a wasted series, right? And this is even a wasted scene because there was something there. There was something I could have done here because he's emotional and he shows some humility and is like, I'm stubborn like you. I'm crusted with pride, because saying like I'm a son and I'm just like my father, crusted with pride, and he says, and I was wrong. Actually, should we listen to this? Because give credit to this guy. He's trying his best in a really bad show.
I was wrong.
I was wrong. Got to pause it. Got to be careful.
I was wrong to disrespect you.
That's a good delivery. Man is wasted in this show. And also, like, I would have liked if they give it like a bit of context, because what I like is that he's saying I was wrong to disrespect you. And as I believe in honor thy father and thy mother. And so I appreciate that he says that, but he's not saying I think I was wrong in that I feel we should work with the elves. So I think he should have says like, I still think I was right in what I said, but I was wrong to disrespect you. That I think would have been just rounded off the characterization. And because I think he still has his pride, and I think in context, he is actually right. His father is the one who was wrong in all this, right? But it's actually a moment that could have been good if it was in a better show. Anyway, so they basically make up, and some wasted lines from a character that had potential, unfortunately. And then he basically says, yeah, the elves want to make rings, but it might lead to greater catastrophe. I don't trust them. And then they basically kind of bait you, and they don't let you know. What if you were right about the elves? Also, he's even kind of admitting, maybe I was wrong. What if you were right? So he's doubting his initial stubbornness. Okay. But it seems like his dad is now flipped completely, because the next thing we see, they're going to be making those rings, but they try and bait you and they don't let you know that that's the dad's choice. We've spotted the one good actor then. I think we have. Man, if you want to see a hilarious video, right? Preparatory to season 1, there was an interview that the actor did with the actor who played Deezer as well. And it's something like, this is the funniest comedy of Rings About, something like that, because his facial expressions while she is spitting her tripe is hilarious. You could tell he's just dying. It's like, get me out of here. Yeah, that was funny. So check out that video if you want to laugh, because oh boy, he was dying with all this agenda, pre-written script that all these actors were spewing out in their marketing before season 1. Yes. Oh yeah, he was dying while she was spitting bullcrap. It's hilarious. Great. Yeah, you've seen it. It's a fun video, that one. But anyway, they're not going to reveal that the king basically is like, now we're going to go with the elves. They just rest on his face and is like, And then what's his face is getting sewed up by Theo, because he learnt from his mum. He learnt from his mum. Lemonless is there. And Pointless, like, this is again one of those scenes that feels like nothing important is happening. The only thing I establish here is Theo is pissy and he doesn't like Don Lemonless. They're basically trying to have a talk. Something about, you're angry, Theo. I was angry when my homeland was destroyed by Morgoth or whatever. It's a thirst. Give it up, Theo. And Theo's like, get stuffed. I don't like you. This is so painful to get through. And he's basically like, anything about you that was important to me died with her. Ready? It's ashes now, like my mum.
Is ashes now.
Are we supposed to like this guy? This moody, jerky teenager? Angsty teenager trope. Yep. Painful. All right. So then he's getting water, and the Numenor guy, what's his face, comes and is like, yeah, this was an aqueduct, blah, blah, blah. And then Theo's like, you want to get your horse back? Sure, I'll get my horse back. Let's right there. You'd really want to get your horse back? Let's do it. Now, this is the scene where the girl that he rescued, they're about to head off. Having I can't even remember what they talk about. It's that pointless. This is it. So maybe like he reveals this. They're trying to do character progression for Isildur or whatever, right? Remember his mother drowned in the ocean? That was a big thing in like the dad is so cut up because the mum drowned in the ocean. Turns out it's because of what's his face here? Isildur, what's his face? Remember, I get him mixed up. He actually swam out too far and he was drowning. His mum tried to save him and she drowned and he got back to shore, and so it's his fault. And is living with that burden and guilt. It's like, okay, that sucks. I wonder if that's going to come out anywhere in the future. Does dad find out and then hate him for it? How long until that you're not my dad line? But this is an important thing. The sea is always right, though. Did you think about that, Isildur? Is it Isildur? Tell me in the chat. Isildur? It's Isildur. I get it mixed up. Told you. Okay, Decurion05, super chat for 11.99 euros. I would like to assume that if women orcs exist, like Tolkien just wrote a little assumption about that they are like the Warhammer Skaven brood mothers, just, oh, wow, that would be harsh, just uses breeding machines to keep the numbers. Yeah, like orcs numbers replenish faster than humans, and they seem to grow faster as well. And so a type of brood mother, I think that could work. And if you want like, Dragon Age. Do you know about Dragon Age, the game series? The world building and lore is wasted in the later games of Dragon Age. They utilize it pretty good in Dragon Age Origins, right? But the world building of Dragon Age Origins is actually really solid. And the origin of I forget the monsters. I forget their names now. But the monsters, the main monsters that they have to fight in the Blight or thing, whatever that comes up, right? They have a brood mother. And there's a quest that you go on which reveals how they corrupt and get a brood mother, and they basically corrupt a female dwarf into a brood mother, and it's basically that. And it is dark, man. Yeah, it's the Darkspawn. That's it. So the Darkspawn have a brood mother in the Dragon Age lore. And like it is dark and creepy, and it works well for the setting, and a lot of the world building is actually really solid. So they thought about that in Dragon Age. Yeah, man. So that's what you think an orc kind of, if they have any type of breeding system that's somewhat similar to, you know, regular people, it would be something like that, a brood mother kind of thing. So back to a far lesser adaptation. And his sad is moody. She drowned. It was his mum. And then Theo arrives. Theo hears it, right? So he knows that he got his mum killed and is basically trying to redeem himself with a great action. Dawnbreaker. Isildur. It should be Isildur. I see what you did there, Dawnbreaker. $2 super chat. Thank you. I'm probably going to forget. It's the Is one. Isildur. The more violence, the faster orcs grow in Warhammer 40k. Yeah, like they kind of live off of it. So then Theo comes and grabs him. Time to leave to get his horse. And then she's got the mark. She's got the evil mark. Can you see the evil mark here? Oh, wonder what's going to happen. That's right. You're engaged now. You're intrigued. No, it's crap. We got a super chat, $20 from the is it NYC New York City Geek? Is that it? $20? Stay strong, my brother. I appreciate you. Appreciate that. This show will tax us. It will tear out our sanities, but we have to wade through these horrors so we can warn others not to. Always love your watch, and remember, stay on watch. Hell yeah, brother. Appreciate you, mate. Thank you. Yep, so she's the evil person. Da, da, da! Sorry if that was too loud. I didn't do it right. Okay. This is kind of fun. So this guy, right? He's got an axe and is chopping down a tree. They cut back to him multiple times, like 3, maybe even 4 times, just to remind you, everyone, he's cutting down a tree. Did you get that? Did you get it? Because we think you're dumb. The creators of the show think we're all dumb, that you're not going to pick up. He's cutting a tree. He's cutting a tree. We got it. We got it. And they're doing that because, well, same thing. Remember the pattern that they have? Do you guys remember the pattern? Is that when they write themselves into a corner, that they just have some bullcrap come out? Well, it's going to happen here. They're going to try and free the horse, going to get in trouble, and then some bullcrap is going to come to save them. Now, in the context of them cutting a tree, and they're really desperate for you to notice it, what type of bullcrap do you think it's going to be that's going to come and save them? Okay? Remember how they're subtle as a brick, the writers here. So in the chat, let me know. Cutting tree bad. Why would cutting tree be relevant to the bullcrap that they're going to spin in what's going to happen? I'm waiting for you, chat. Who do you think it's going to be? Bingo. Yeah. Oh, no. And then would they dare? Would they dare? Right? I actually think it's this. I think it's the Entwives. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, Advec. Yep. You what, mate? Nothing is sacred to these people. They will milk whatever piece of Tolkien lore they can get their grubby hands on to do the member berries, and just hey, the Entwives are a mystery, right? We're going to answer the mystery of the Entwives because we want that in our show. No one's going to come to your show for that answer. Get stuffed, right? But it's at least Ents. I'm sorry, Matthew. Yep. Yeah, that's just what it is. It's also tiresome. It really is. They've gone too far. So, why would the Entwives go full murder hobo? Okay, is it because they want to sell it because it's chopping down a tree? Guess what? Lots of people chop down trees. I've chopped down trees. That's not an executable offense. If that's the reason why the Entwives want to go murder hobo on anyone, screw them. Piss off. No, Ents. No, like, and I know the Ents were pissed off at Saruman for chopping down the trees, right? But they were going wholesale, and they also killed lots of Ents in the process, I believe, right? And also Sauron was once friends with them. They took that as a blood betrayal. Okay, that goes beyond just chopping down a tree. In fact, the Ents let people chop down a lot of trees and didn't murder them. So if they're going, it look really, you'll see, it really looks like they're doing the Ents, and I bet that's going to be the Entwives, right? They're bastardizing and assassinating even the Entwives, making them crazy, murdering psychopaths for anyone who dares chop down a tree. Gosh. Right? So they're going to ruin the Ents. So they're chopping down a tree. They're sneaking up. Gee, look how dark it is. Like, that's Isildur. He's sneaking up to get his horse. And the bad guys around a forest, they hear, the horse being stolen, and they're like, what's that? And then Theo just what is their plan? Like, Isildur is almost got his horse back. He's almost unhooked him. So he's about to get free. Then Theo decides to just walk up to him and say, hey, can I share your fire? What are you doing, you retard? These are murdering, bandits. And they're like, what? Hey, little boy, you lose your mum. And remember, this guy is chopping down a tree. This might be the third time they've cut to him because I've been skipping forward, but they really want you to remember. And I'm going to, he's chopping down a tree, just so you saw that. I think we're idiots. Ledge for $5 says, I want to see the first Entwife of color. Yay. Yeah. Maybe. Theo acts like a complete moron, just walks up to these bandits and he's like, I'm one of you. I've got a mark. I've got the mark of Adar, and this is the mark the sword gave him, and it's not the mark of Adar, it's just a scar. And they look at his arm and they're like, this isn't the mark, you idiot. Of course it's not going to work. Theo is such a moron. But Theo's like, I've done more for Adar than any of you. Okay. So they're like, hold him tight. We'll get him. Because they don't believe in a mark. And then we need to, ready for this? That sounded like an axe, actually. Am I wrong? Did I just like, I'm pretty sure it's the Ents. Who was that? What was that? So Theo's running away because someone just got, oh, wait, I think that's the woodsman's axe. I think that was the axe from the woodsman. So no, this isn't like other bandits with weapons. No, that was like a pissed off Ent. Grabbed the axe, because remember, the axe sound has stopped now, and threw the axe at the evil, look, they are evil bandits, but from their perspective, all they know is that they'd be chopping down trees. The evil woodsman. Why would an Ent throw axes? They're just badass. These aren't just Ents. They're the super Ents. Okay? Run away! Now ready? Let's do it.
It's an ambush!
It's an ambush. I need to pause the sound. Do you hear that? The sound in the background? And the big boom, boom, and the trees break it. Those are Ent sounds. Those are very much Ent sounds. And he looks back. What's going on? And a guy just gets picked up and yeeted. Yeah. We're Ents. They're clearly teasing Ents. And because nothing is sacred to these people and they're lazy and desperate for any type of member berries, I bet they're gonna do the Ent wives. Woodsmen need a pause on the Ents. Yep. Okay, it's the Ents. It's pretty obvious. Yeah. Yep. That sound is 100%. You even hear the cracking branches. Yep. Yeah, look, and then the cracking branches and the thing standing up being so 100% Ents. Yep. And you know that they're gonna steal the Ent wives. That's what they're doing. Yeah, you can barely see anything though. Where's the budget? Why are they hiding everything if they have such a high budget? Could be a troll. I don't think so. I think the cracking branches makes it really definitely Ents. I could be wrong. We'll get to see. We'll get to see, won't we? Dum, dum, dum. And he gets picked up. Yeah, totally Ents. And is that Isildur running away? Oh, yeah. So now Theo's screaming for Isildur.
Theo!
Help me!
Theo!
Yep. Oh, they had a trailer with the Entwives? I saw their Entwives in the trailer and they look like ass biscuits. Well, that's confirmed then, isn't it? Oh my gosh. It's like the Battle of the Long Night all over again. You can't see a thing. Look at this. Look at this. You can't. And that, this is terribly, this is terrible visual storytelling. It's horribly written and horribly conveyed on a thematic level as well in the visuals. It might be an Ent-adjacent creature. It's the Ents. On Earth, we chop trees. That's right. Chopping trees is not a killable, capital offense. They're hiding. Yeah, they're hiding all the bad CGI in the darkness. Very possibly. All right. So now, next scene. This is the coronation of Is it Muriel? Is that her name? She's gonna be coronated, but remember, Alferozon, if that's his name, I'm probably butchering his name. He has a plan, and so they draw this out. She takes ages to walk to the front, and even though she's walking slowly, she certainly has a sure step for being blind. Let me take the audio off now. They're like, because she just walked downstairs as well without any assistance. Okay, but anyway, they draw this out. She gets up. They're gonna be they're gonna coronate her, but a voice says, you're no queen of mine, or something like that. Someone protests, and so she tries to, your pain is a prayer within these walls. I feel your pain, but they don't like her. We have bloodied and been bloodied, and so she's trying to be like a noble queen. She doesn't convey authority or power. She let someone slap her before. It does feel like plot convenient blindness. Yeah. So glad I don't have to watch this crap. I'm doing it for you, sir. It's my honor and privilege. And so she's trying to win them over, but then a voice speaks out from the side. She's like, do it for me. Do it for yourself. Dawnbreaker for $2 says, are there any Black Oak Ents? Don't know. We will have to see. We'll have to see. And then, what about Isildur? So the sister calls out from the side, what about Isildur? Because she blames the queen for getting her brother killed. And then she's going to be like, you are not a good queen. In fact, you have been using this elven artifact to be told what to do. You've basically been serving the elves. That's effectively what she says here. She shows the palantir. She throws it down, And she's like, don't destroy it. We need it. And everyone hates her now because she's an elf lover. That's essentially what this boils down to. Queen of lies, queen of lies. Someone tries to pick up the Palantir. Oh, it was the dad. It's not, there's Isildur or I get it mixed up. Sorry. But anyway, he tried to pick up the Palantir and that just yeeted him. Right? He's like, quickly, pick it up. Kaboom. Yeah, might not want to touch that thing. Elendil, that's it. It's Elendil, that. Thank you, chat. And then everyone hates the queen. They're after the queen. Now, what was interesting, they dropped a line. Subtle as a brick as always. They dropped a line when the queen was talking with Farazon or the dude, whatever, about when her father was coronated, an eagle came, and they take that as like a sign of divine authority, of divine recognition, of that there. He's going to be a good queen, king, whatever. And as this all happens, wouldn't you know it, an eagle comes and lands. And is it for her or is it for him? Well, she doesn't do a thing, and she lets this dude walk up to the eagle, and they just start saying, the eagle favors Farazon. Farazon. Yeah, he's going to be the king. That's what happens. And that's it. Riveting stuff. I don't care. Don't care about this character. Numenor sucks. They're a bunch of idiots. And so who cares what happens to them? Let them sink into the ocean already. And she is a boring character. So that's that scene. Amazing. And then back to Sauron. Now they're forging the rings. You want to see them forging the rings? The king is there. See the king? That's his head. He's there. He's going to give him the mithril. Sauron takes the mithril instead. So remember, Brimbor, he was about to put the mithril in. Then Anatar's like, give me the mithril. And I think this is the show indicating this is how Sauron corrupts the rings, by mere touch. He seeps his essence into the mithril when he takes it into his hand. And that's all it takes for him to wholly corrupt the forging of the dwarven rings. See how he like grips it, and then he's gonna wrap his hand around it, and he's like, I infest it with my evil. And then that's it. That's how he corrupts them. Like I would have thought it would have needed to maybe some of the dark speech of Mordor, the Black Tongue, or some evil magic. But no, all right, okay, he just touches it. He touches it and then drops it in. Maybe he did some other dark magic before. But hang on. There's an issue here. There is a problem. Do you guys remember how they forged the first 3 rings? They actually had a significant plot point that they built up through the entire season, right? The issue that they had, the big brain idea that Halbrand gave the Master Smith. He never thought of this before. He never thought of making an alloy. Halbrand told him about alloys. And so then we needed to, well, that's the idea. We'll do that. We'll make an alloy with mithril. But do you remember season 1? They couldn't bond the mithril to any alloy. In fact, the mithril was like too pure, too powerful. They needed pure gold. Where could they find pure gold? That could only be found in the Undying Elven lands. Yep, some of you in chat know what's going on. The only way they were able to make the rings with the mithril in season 1 was with Galadriel's dagger, or her brother's dagger that she kept with her that came from the Undying Lands. It was like the only piece of pure gold and silver that they had. Okay? And then I think that was also something to do with heat. But I remember that being a pretty important plot point. That's how they did. Where are they getting the gold to make them additional rings now? They got the mithril. Don't they need pure gold? I guess they just solved that off screen. That was a really important plot point in season 1. Let's forget about that now. Don't remember. I remember how this show just wants you to forget about parts of season 1 or gaslight you to say things didn't happen. Exactly the same here. They're just moving past something that they built up through that whole first season. That's the whole reason Galadriel had that stupid dagger was a setup for the payoff of that dagger being used to make the rings. Yeah, they don't even give a crap about the first season. That's how much regard they have for this show. Yep, the writers don't even know their own lore. It is pathetic. Okay, and so completely contradicted. Sauron had some pure gold nuggets up his behind. They craps them out. He can just make it. Oh, dog crap. But Erebor was extremely wealthy, quite a way. But look, could they have gotten some from another elven settlement? Would have been logical, because that was a problem. They could not make the rings without it. So a little acknowledgement of a comment might have solved that plot hole. But it was such a problem that they needed to use. If they could have just sourced it from another place, yeah, let's wait a couple of days. Well, Galadriel didn't want to wait, remember? So she gave the dagger. It just feels like it's arbitrary crap. You know, they could have solved. They could have had it brought in for another person. No, they couldn't. They need to use the dagger because they set it up, and now they're ignoring it. And they make the rings, or the rings are getting made. Da, da, da. And that's Sauron dropping it in. And his eyes were closed then, so that's him seeping in some dark magic as well. There we go. And the rings are being made, and we did it. That's the end. Yeah, we got through it. You're right, Ozzy. It's painful to watch all those scenes. This was horrible. This was a horrible episode. This whole season, this whole show, it's all just unbearable crap. I literally don't watch anything anymore. This was really bad. There we go. Look, thank you for everyone. Thank you to the chat. It's been a blast as always. But hey, look, these are just the first 3 episodes. We have the entire season to get through, and I'll be doing it. I won't be, missing a single one, because that's what we do. We stay on watch. And I'll usually cut then, but I like hanging out a little bit with the chat. Just see if you guys have any chats that, you want to see. So much more fun to be had. Oh, you are welcome, Mages Guild. Appreciate yous. Appreciate, this was actually tough. This was hard to get through. I was falling asleep at some. I needed to do 2 full streams to get through it because I wanted to get this done before F&T. First I wanted to watch him. So, of course, to chat about it with all the guys on F&T. But also I wanted to reserve a lot of that first initial impact reaction to the video. So I wanted to get it done first. I'm here to support your pain. I appreciate you. And I do, genuinely. Well, that's been one of the fun things. Shad, do you ever play Lord of the Rings movie games in the early 2000s, the Two Towers, and the Return of the King, these remasters? I've played one. Was it Battle for Middle-earth? It was like a strategy game. It was fun. But genuinely, guys, you have made this journey survivable for me, and genuinely heaps of fun throughout it. Your input, your interaction, it's been great. I look forward to seeing you on the next reviews and everything that we do here on Night's Watch. Hope to see you there, and as always, stay on watch.